Hey everyone, this is Richard, CEO of altFINS. In this trading video, I will look at some pullback opportunities in the recent dip. Specifically, I'll review several trade setups and technical analyses for some of the meme coins like SHIB, Dodge, WIF, Bonk, and PEPE, among others. If you're paying attention to some of our blogs and newsletters, you may have seen that last week we issued a warning that the markets were getting overbought and that the traders should not chase the recent rally because again the RSI indicator indicated that the markets were getting overbought, and especially we were hitting some of the resistance areas. And indeed, in a few days after that, the market has pulled back sharply, but now giving us perhaps opportunities to buy this dip with the assumption that the uptrend will continue. Also, we are of the opinion, or I am of the opinion, that about a month ago in early August, August 5th, is when we hit the bottom of sort of the recent downtrend. And in fact, we've seen a number of bullish breakouts from channel down pattern, from falling wedge patterns, which are indicative of a bullish trend reversal to an uptrend. And we're seeing early indications of that. There's a series of higher highs, higher lows we've been seeing in some of the altcoins. So there is some positive improvements in the trends, and in fact a number of assets have already entered a uptrend on the medium horizon basis, and I will demonstrate that. So we are of the opinion also that we're going to see potentially a major rally in altcoins by the end of the year, as we have seen some positive activity already. And especially if the Fed continues to cut interest rates as it did recently in September, likely to do more cuts in November and again in 2025, that should bode well for crypto valuations as well as valuations of risk assets in general. All right, so where do we find some interesting trading ideas? So first of all, here on the crypto screener, we have several sort of preset market filters or market scans that are available to traders and for various strategies. But one that I think is applicable right now is the pullback in uptrend. So when I select that, I'm left with the results of assets that are already in an uptrend. If we look at the trend tab here, are in an uptrend on the medium and the long-term horizon basis. The short-term trend changes very quickly. I'm not very focused on that unless you're very short-term trade oriented. But these are assets that are in an uptrend on the medium and the long-term basis, but have pulled back, in the last week by at least 5% or more. Okay, so if we look at the performance, last week's performance for XRP is minus 11%, AVE minus 10%, so forth. So these are assets that are in an uptrend, have pulled back, and could be buying dip opportunities, right? Let's look at some of the charts. Now, ideally, the pullback is at a level that also represents a support. So the pullback is to a support level. In the case of XRP, the support levels, nearest support level is 50 cents here. In case of AVE, that's a more complicated, I think, setup because it's actually broken below the 150 support. So maybe that's not quite right or ripe opportunity. A Gate token, it's the support levels are probably around $8.30. So that looks like it's turning a corner and swinging back up again, right? Now, for some of these assets, we actually have technical analysis available to you, so that helps you and saves you a lot of time and perhaps gives you a better analysis for your trade setup. So for XRP or Ripple, we actually have a technical analysis here that shows exactly where the support level and resistance levels are. As you can see, in the price after breaking out of the symmetrical triangle, it got rejected at the resistance area of 67 cents, exactly where it got rejected back in August. And now it's pulled back to this 50-cent support level that held up a few times in the past. So it could be a good swing trade entry for this uptrend. All right. So that's how I would go about looking for ideas. Now, notice that this market scan says that it looks for assets that are in an uptrend on a medium and long-term basis. If I want to maybe get more ideas, I could relax these conditions, filter conditions, and get rid of the long-term trend and just focus those that are on a medium trend basis, because a lot of the assets are just reversing their downtrend to an uptrend. So many of the assets long-term trends are still not quite corrected, but the medium trend has already corrected. And so if I do that, I get a longer list of assets that satisfy this criteria, including Bitcoin, Binance, Solana, and so forth, right? So these could also be some interesting opportunities. Let's look at the charts again, right? So again, pullbacks, right, in an uptrend could be buying opportunities if it's at the right level. For example, Bitcoin, the nearest support level is 60,000. Again, you can find that detail in the asset detail area on the technical analysis tab here. Okay. Now, another way of going about this is to go into the technical analysis section, where you can easily just filter for those type of situations you're looking for. For example, assets that are approaching support or have pulled back in an uptrend. Okay, so let's look at those. Pullback in uptrend, for example. All right, so we've got FLOKI, PEPE, SHIB, right? Let's take a look at some of these. Okay, so SHIB is now in an uptrend on a medium-term basis. It got clearly overbought here as it shot up. It broke out of the falling wedge pattern. That was the first clue that there's a change in the trend from downtrend to potentially uptrend. Then it shot up all the way to the 200-day moving average and the horizontal resistance area, but it got overbought, right? RSI spiked up to as high as 80, I believe. And so anytime the RSI gets that high, there's a good chance we're going to see some profit taking and sort of a cooling off. And we saw that, in fact, perfectly played out, that the price pulled back now to the support zone here, and that's a good swing entry with the assumption that the uptrend will resume here, and we're looking at maybe 20% potential upside back to this resistance area. So that's SHIB. I think that FLOKI and PEPE are very similar setups, but let's take a look. Okay, also broke out of the falling wedge pattern, right? First clue and indication that there is a bullish trend reversal. And now, after getting rejected at the 200-day moving average, it's pulled back again to the horizontal support. But it's also nice to see that there is a sort of a trend line developing of, sort of higher lows. Every time the price is pulled back, it made a higher low, which is also a sign of an uptrend. So this looks like a good swing entry as well. Next on the list was PEPE. Let's check it out. All right, very similar situation. In this case, we saw a breakout from a channel down pattern, right? That was forming for 4 months. We just saw consistent lower, trends. But finally, we broke out of that recently, maybe 10 days ago. The the price also made a higher high, so it topped out higher than the prior upswing. Another sign of potential uptrend. And now it's, it got overbought here again with RSI over 75 or 80. So we warned everyone to pull out of that or sell that position. And now it's pulled back to this support area once again, which looks like a good swing entry opportunity, with the assumption that the price will resume its uptrend back to this resistance and maybe even beyond that. So we're looking at potential, again, 15 to 30% potential upside. These trade setups that are here also include stop loss levels, which I certainly suggest that you use. And if you don't know how to set up your stop loss levels, I suggest that you check out the trading course, which lesson 9 is specifically dedicated to risk management, including how to and where to place a stop loss level. Now, let's look at also some situations where the price is maybe not quite in an uptrend yet, but has pulled back to an interesting support level. And I think I wanted to do, out of this list, I think I wanted to do, let's look at, okay, I think ENS looks like an interesting setup. If I recall correctly, yep. Also had a breakout of this triangle, and after rallying to the 200-day moving average, it pulled back. But now it looks, again, it's back to that $15.50 support level. And also, again, this long-term uptrend trend line here, which looks like a solid support, dynamic support trend line as well. So, both of these things suggest that, this could be an interesting entry level, with the assumption that the price will once again go into an upswing and reach that prior resistance of the 200-day moving average, which is $20.45, in which case we're looking at about a 20% potential upside. So here in this technical analysis section, we have a number of interesting trade setups that are ready, available for our members. So I encourage you to use it. It's also a good way to learn technical analysis because it's done very consistently, focusing on support resistance areas, chart patterns, if there are any, as well as risk management. All right, well, I hope this has been helpful. Keep in mind that this video was for informational purposes only, not meant to be financial advice, and do your own research. Good luck trading.